Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy, and this is a product review which will show on the standalone product playlist, which has not seen any action for a while. So this will be a new entry on that playlist. It'll be, I think, maybe the sixth or seventh entry. So it's of this stuff. WB Extra Long Cut. In what I am guessing is a foil pouch. The outside, though, is pretty high gloss. Presentation looks good. Up, and you can just barely see it, there is a date code in yellow pinpoint ink. It is very, very late in the year of this past year, if I am reading it right, but I'm not quite sure if I am. That said, with packaging like this, I am not overly worried about it. If it is what I think it is, it's close enough. That and this is not easy, at least for me, to come across. So this review and this pouch for myself has been made possible by Berg's from Berg's Dip Reviews. So you have a date code up there on that side. And then on the other side, you have the net weight ounce denoted right there. This is a 1.2 net weight ounce bag. That is basically weight-wise the standard can of dip. So besides the one side having the date code and the other side having the ounce, they're both basically the same. On the bottom, over here, it is saying that this is a product of the U.S. Smokeless Tobacco Company of Nashville, Tennessee. Barcode, obviously. And then over here, it is just stating that the product is 100% U.S. tobacco. Sale is only allowed in the United States. Underage sales prohibited. And that this is tax class C, which means tax class wise, in the eyes of the federal government, this is chewing tobacco. All dipping tobacco is tax class M. So this is tax class C. All right. Now this is a standalone product for a number of reasons. Although I believe this to be a extremely long cut stranded dip-like tobacco, a natural, number one, it is tax class C, which is chewing tobacco. Number two, this, and probably the most glaring standout part of this is the only pouched product from U.S. Smokeless. This is the only thing they make. Since it is tax class C, chewing tobacco, technically this is the only chewing tobacco they make. Now, it does have a Ziploc, which I'm not sure, I may have accidentally engaged when I was checking to see if it was engaged, but the way this packaging is, it's sealed. It's like a Stoker's Pound bag. It's sealed tight, and you know what? It's probably even better bag packaging than a Stoker's bag. There are 3 holes up above here. I'm guessing that may be an aftermarket addition to whatever store, whatever way they had it hanging. It's probably for hooks or something like that. They are not cut evenly, so I'm thinking that maybe that came about after it actually ended up in a store. So I am going to cut this open. Now, as I said, I believe this to be a very long strand natural, but I could be wrong. I'm going to try to get it in as close as I can to the Ziploc. And did I get close enough? Yes, I did. So It is pretty compacted. It's a different smell. It's a natural, I believe, but it is a different smell than, let's say, Copenhagen long cut or whatnot. It is a smell that doesn't register as much. Do I have a strand of this on my nose? It doesn't register as much salt. Salt is there, but it's not as in your face. The product is drier. However, every review I've ever seen of this stuff, there's not a lot of them, I bet, but every review I've seen, the stuff has lean dry, sort of like a Skull product, but it is pliable. And this is, oh wow, okay. This is what we're looking at here. Okay, I'm pulling the whole bag there, as you can see. Wow. You know what it sort of reminds me of? It sort of reminds me of shag cigarette tobacco, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to try to pull some of this off. And that's what you're looking at there. The stuff is fresh. It just isn't as moist as regular dip. I mean, there's nothing telling me that this has dried out, though. Let me put it that way. But it's pretty crazy stuff. And you know what? Just like shag cigarette tobacco, it's got what in shag cigarette tobacco circles call bird's eyes. Bird's eye. Where would you hear a reference of bird's eye? Not drum. Ballyshag, which is no longer on the U.S. market. I believe it was Ballyshag always advertised no bird's eyes. That's what that just was. And there's another one up here. Not a big deal. Actually, sort of piques my interest a little more. So I'm going to throw this in and somehow, and then hit the pause button, and I'll be back in a minute. All right? Back in a moment. And I am back. Okay, this is really interesting stuff. And of course, there's absolutely no information on it because I did look ahead of time. It's a natural, but it's not a natural like we think of naturals. Okay, if I say natural, and you automatically think Copenhagen long cut. Okay, it's not that. It's like a natural, or this is how it's coming off to me anyway. It's like a natural, not Copenhagen long cut, or anything that's trying to be Copenhagen long cut. This instead is a natural, like, we haven't done anything to it. We've shredded it, we've bagged it, and besides that, we really haven't done much. So, you know, I mean, you got the original natural, which was Copenhagen snuff, and then basically everything that's come after that, let me rephrase that. You had the Copenhagen snuff, and then Copenhagen came out with the long cut. There at one time or another had been naturals from Skull, which never got the play of Copenhagen long cut. So basically you got the snuff, then you got the long cut Copenhagen, and basically everybody else is trying to form their naturals around that. They may tweak it here, like American Snuff does, tweak it there, you know, slight differences, but really what they're shooting for, no matter who's making the stuff, what they're shooting for is something that's going to register to the user as, oh, this is like Copenhagen long cut. This is not. This is just it's long strand, extremely long stranded shag tobacco that's gone through minimal processing when it comes to flavoring and whatnot. Interestingly, now I did throw this in on my chew side. I did that on purpose because I haven't had any chew today. There is a mouthfeel to this. It is a little zingy on the gum line. I'm not saying it's a burn. I'm not saying it's even a tingle. But there's something going on there, which I'm guessing is just nicotine absorption because there's no wintergreen, there's no mint, there's nothing. Flavor, it's dark fired tobacco. I mean, I'm imagining that this stuff is actually dark fired the way they dry it. But really I guess there's a salt content to it, but not like Copenhagen long cut. It's just, okay, if Copenhagen long cut is natural, the natural that everybody's trying to get their natural to, this is even more natural. It's just it's long shredded dark fire tobacco that they put in a bag and said, here you go. If you can find it, have that. Most people can't find this. This is the first time I've ever actually seen it in person, to tell you the truth. It does lean on the dry side. As I said, other reviews I have seen of this, it was always the same. It is ridiculously long cut. It's like, I mean, it's long cut. It's got bird's eyes like shag cigarette rolling tobacco. Not the kind of tobacco, when I say shag, not the kind of cigarette tobacco that is put in injectors. This is like the hand rolling stuff. That is exactly what this is, and even by cigarette shag standards, this stuff is still really, really long. It's fairly dark, but at the same time, it's a lot of natural blonde highlights. And I know, my equipment is not up to speed with everything, but I mean, there's a small bit. And if I get that in front of my white shirt, yeah, we're real tech forward operation here. Here, let me just get this pinch in front of my white shirt to show you definition and depth. I mean, it's ridiculously long. The only other thing I've ever heard of being longer, and I never saw it, I never came across it because Swisher isn't sold in my area, was the Gold River, which I believe is more moist, but I guess I'll have to leave that to my imagination because that is no longer on the market. So, the taste is real natural. The cut is ridiculously long. It's got a mouthfeel that tells me there's some sort of nicotine absorption. The packaging is sort of cool. It's got the Ziploc, so that's good. It's a foil bag, if you can see the foil in there. It's a high quality foil bag with a very glossy outer side, the outside of the bag. Ziploc works well though. That's all good. It's presentation wise, it's a nice looking package. And easily fit in a top pocket, your back pocket. I mean, I don't think this is the type of bag's not going to be compromised in any way. It was holding a little bit of air, which I probably should have shown towards the beginning of the video. The flavor, as I said, it's natural. I mean, you gotta, this is what I'm imagining a longer form of Copenhagen snuff would have been like 150 years ago, let's say. 75. 1870. This is what I would imagine it would have been more like. before modern processing methods and stuff like that. So if you see this stuff, I would definitely give it a try. I mean, save the package just so you could say you tried it. I can't see anybody really, there's nothing about it that you would dislike. If anything, the worst would be just sort of like, meh, okay, I've done it. But as I said, the packaging's very different. This is the only tax class C pouch product by U.S. Smokeless Tobacco Company. The same company that makes Copenhagen, Skoal, Red Seal, and Husky. That's why I keep referring to them. All in all, I'm glad I tried it. I will use the entire package. I want to thank Bergs from Bergs Dip Reviews for sending this to me. I would have never run into this in my area. If you see it, I'd give it a try. It's something. It's definitely different. All right. I am the Suit&Tie Dip and Chew Guy. Do check out Bergs Dip Reviews, Dirty Pat Walsh, Wayside Lee, which I have been skipping, and I apologize, Crow. Snuff Strings, Real Talk Studios, No Bluff Buff, which also, besides Bergs, has a review of this stuff. Snoozefreak.com, the channel here on YouTube, and the lad from Australia, Wild Bushman. Do check them all out. I will catch up with subscriber shout-outs shortly, possibly the next video or maybe the one after that if the next one's short. I do hope you all are well. Do take care of yourselves, and as always, God bless.